Coming up on episode 116 of Creative Writing, I'm talking about the benefits of paid collaborations.
I can't go back to sleep, it's almost light. These restless thoughts have kept me up again tonight.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creative Writing. I'm your host, Kirsten Oliphant, and this is the podcast for you, a writer, blogger, or creative who wants to build an online platform without being smarmy. Today, we are wrapping up our series on collaborations that I have been doing to celebrate my book launch, which is actually this week. It is in 2 days and the pre-orders are up. You guys have been ordering. I think the last time I checked, I had hit my goal of selling 1,000 copies in the pre-order week. So you guys are amazing. It's been a lot of fun. So this week I wanted to kind of close out the collaboration talking about paid collaborations, because I think this is something where people sometimes get stuck in a little box. So we're going to talk about the paid collaborations. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to share a few announcements and reminders and thank the sponsors for the show. I have actually 4 sponsors I want to thank. I'm going to start with those. And these are the companies that are actually sponsoring my book launch party, which is going to be this Thursday. It's November 2nd. There is an event that is public, book launch birthday. You can find it in the Creative Writing community, which is just creativewriting.com/community. And if you're local to Houston, I would love to see you there. Introverts and extroverts alike, we can be non-awkward or awkward either way. Just come out to the book launch. So I had 4 sponsors who are taking care of all the details for the party in terms of the financial support and providing food and drink. So I'm going to say a quick thank you to those just to start out the show and then kind of talk about this whole idea of paid collaborations, because that's exactly what I have going on. So a big thank you first to Mediavine. Mediavine is the company that runs the ads on my Kirsten Oliphant blog and a lot of other bloggers' blogs. They do a really great job and are a company made up of people who started out as bloggers and are trying to do the very best job they can to make money and also not sacrifice user experience, because again, they're bloggers. They want readers, not just dollar signs. So I love working with this company, and they sponsored the event venue, which is a loft in downtown Houston. It's going to be a really cool and fun space. So thank you, huge thank you to Mediavine. They have a publishers conference that you should really check out. If you just go to mediavine.com, you can find out about the publishers conference. Last year it was in South Carolina and Charleston, and I got to be a speaker, and they did an amazing job. And this year it's going to be in, I think, Silicon Valley at Google headquarters. So that's pretty incredible, and you don't want to miss it if you can possibly be there. My second sponsor is ConvertKit, and you guys know that I sing their praises all the time. They are my email service provider, and email is my big thing. And so I'm super thankful that ConvertKit partnered with me for this party, and they are sponsoring the photo booth specifically. So there's going to be really cool photos from this photo booth that I have that are going to all have filters that have ConvertKit on them, just to kind of give them a shout out visually. So that's kind of a fun thing that you can do. And I've seen that done at other events as well. And ConvertKit is fabulous enough to offer you guys a free month if you want to try them out and see why I rave and rave and rave about them. And if you get this free month through my affiliate link, I also have a free course and a free Facebook group that is mostly there just for support. I don't post very often, but when there's ConvertKit news, I pass it on to you guys. And if you have questions, then I will answer them there. So if you want to try that free month, you can go to creativewriting.com/ConvertKit to get a free month, and then just email me and let me know so I can get you into the course and the group. Another great sponsor is Kroger. I don't need to tell you guys who Kroger is because you probably know Kroger, depending on the part of the country that you are in. I grew up in a place that did not have Kroger, and now they do. And it has been my number one shopping destination since we moved to Houston. I know how to shop. I know where everything is. I know how to get the very, very best deals. And it's just been a fantastic store for us here in Houston. And like, I'm not just saying that because they're helping to sponsor the food for the party. I'm saying that because it's actually true. So you can ask my friends. I'm always raving about Kroger. I have a post about how to save money at shopping specifically at Kroger. So a big thank you to Kroger for sponsoring the food for the party. And finally, I have a great local sponsor, Grateful Dane Distilling, and this is a company that does rum, spiced rum. I have not actually tasted it. I need to go out now for a tasting because I had not heard of this company. And it's crazy because the owner of the company is actually a guy who was in the youth group when my husband and I we weren't even dating yet, but we worked for a church at a youth group. And one of the guys in the youth group has now gone on to build and start this company, and they are sponsoring. So they are going to have drinks there for us, rum drinks. We're going to have some special drinks just for us. And I'm just really, really excited to partner with them because they're local. It's someone that, we haven't seen him in years, but he's doing awesome things and came out of this youth group. So we have this connection. His mom is actually going to be there pouring the drinks and talking about the company. And she and I go way back and are in a social media group here in Katy, Texas. So it's really amazing to see this company come out and sponsor the party and also kind of see all the ways that we connected and the connections that I have to them. And that's part of what I want to talk about in this whole episode. I don't just thank the sponsors because they're paying for stuff. I'm thanking them because I want to give you guys an idea of what it looks like to actually work with people in a paid sense and have it be more than a transaction. And I think that that's really, really huge. So I'm going to share some stories, but I did want to start out with those 4 sponsors because I told them this is part of their sponsorship package that I would give them shout outs on the podcast, but it's more than that because there are some things I'm going to circle back to as I talk about tips for getting the most out of these paid collaborations. I want to give you guys a few really basic tips and then share some stories to kind of flesh out what this actually looks like in practice. So the first thing, when you are working with somebody, a paid kind of collaboration, and maybe actually let me back up a bit. I want to define kind of what I mean by this or some ways or what this could look like, I guess. So this could look like a sponsored post if you're a blogger, and it could look like a sponsored post where you work directly with the brand. For this party, I'm working directly with these 4 brands. I contacted people, I reached out, I didn't have a middleman. It was me talking to these different brands and these companies. But you also can work with another brand. There's Activate, which is through Blog Lovin'. There's Collective Bias or Social Fabric. I still don't understand why they have 2 names, or if they still have the 2 names. So I worked with them for a long time. There are a lot of different companies that are kind of a go-between between you and the brand, and they have these campaigns and you can apply for them. So it might look like that. It might look like the direct sponsorship, like I talked about, going right to the brand, to maybe do an event like I'm doing. I've seen other people have sponsors for events like conferences or other things to help kind of offset the cost and to have a presence there so that other people coming to the conference can interact with the brand as well. Maybe it looks like an affiliate partnership or speaking at a paid event where you're an affiliate for that kind of event. And I do a lot of those things. You guys know that I do a lot of summits. There's right now a Super Connector Summit going on right now. And if you go to the Creative Writing Facebook group, again, it's creativewriting.com/community. I'm actually speaking this week at a free summit with David Burkus, and I did an interview with him all about collaboration. So it's like coming out the same day as the book. So it's all kind of tying together, but you could have kind of a, partnership where you're getting paid only if you sell things. So like I'm an affiliate for that summit. It's free to go to the summit and to hear the speakers and see the sessions. You get a free book that's actually really excellent, all about social media or social strategy and the science behind connections and networking, which is really cool. So I am an affiliate. The program is free, but if somebody buys something afterward, then that acts as a paid link, which is how most of these free summits work. So if you don't know, a lot of people don't disclose because they're like, oh, it's a free thing. But I feel really adamant that you need to disclose because there's a cookie involved and there's payment that could be involved. But that's another way that you could have some kind of paid collaboration. You could work together with other people, bundling products together. I've done that with a few other indie authors. We bundled some of our books together about writing last year and sold a whole bunch of those. There's a lot of different kinds of options. It doesn't have to just look like one thing. Often we think of sponsored posts, but it could be that or other things. So that's kind of the backup. So the things I want to talk about when it comes to actually the tips for doing these well and moving beyond just that one thing. The first thing that you need to do is really knock it out of the park And then the second thing, and then I'll kind of make these make a lot more sense. But the second thing is that you really need to establish a personal connection. So you want to knock it out of the park, and then you want to establish, if possible, a personal connection. So let's talk about these two things. They're really simple, right? But I want to give some examples so that you can kind of get the wheels turning and think about how this might look for you in the kind of paid collaborations you might have, or maybe you'll get ideas for paid collaborations. So in terms of knocking out of the park, when I did a lot of sponsored posts for Social Fabric, I did a couple of posts for brands. And so what happens is, if you've never done these before, when you join one of these groups, usually you have to be vetted in some sense, and then they have campaigns. So they'll have a campaign. The one I'm going to talk about particularly was for McDonald's, and it was for their new McCafe, which is their coffee. Perfect fit for me because I actually do drink a ton of McDonald's coffee. I'm addicted to their lattes, you guys. They're cheaper than the other brand a lot of people buy, and really actually very excellent. So you have to tell them to hold the sugar. They like to put sugar in there where it doesn't belong, unless you want sugar. Hold the sugar, you guys. So it was working with McDonald's for McCafe, and I had to create a recipe. So they have a campaign, and they'll say, here's what it is, here's when it's due, here's what you need to do. And then you apply and you kind of pitch an idea. So then each of those campaigns has a person at Social Fabric who is like your liaison. They're kind of the campaign manager, and they will pick from all of the different applicants, pick the few or however many, whatever, maybe there's 25 slots. I'll pick the 25 people with the best pitches. Then you have to do it. And then you have to send all the links and fill it into a form. And that person will check your work and tell you like, hey, you misspelled something here, or this link needs to be here. Your disclosure wasn't clear. Anything you need to fix, that campaign manager will kind of let you know about that. So you don't actually talk to McDonald's, right? So I didn't get to talk to McDonald's, but I did a post, and in the post I think I created a recipe for using the McCafe. It was a hazelnut coffee for homebrew, so coffee beans or grind at home. I don't remember if it was whole beans, but either way, I created a stuffed French toast recipe, a hazelnut stuffed French toast, and it was actually insanely delicious. The pictures turned out really well. The whole campaign went really well. So what happened after that is pretty cool. McDonald's, actually went through and looked at all these sponsored posts, and they liked mine so much that they ran ads to it. They did not run ads to McDonald's. They ran ads going to my post, and I saw them on Facebook, and some of my friends sent me screenshots this is your blog post and it's being advertised on Facebook, but it's from McDonald's. So the McDonald's Facebook page ran ads to my blog post using my photos to my recipe. So I had a big bump in traffic. I feel like I might have gotten extra money as well, which I was like, I'm sure you can pay me to also send traffic to my site. I think that's how that worked, but it's been a while. So it was a really big benefit to me. I got a ton of traffic and I got on the McDonald's radar. Now, I didn't come out with a personal contact, which is kind of the next part of this. But again, with a company like McDonald's, I didn't expect that. I was just really happy to get featured and to see, that my ad was being, they liked my post enough, to put it into an ad and to see my ad in the sidebar on Facebook and in the news feed. It was really pretty cool. So when you knock something out of the park, you get attention, and that may be from the campaign manager. And I found that once I got a couple campaigns with Social Fabric and did well, I got more. And it was really hard sometimes to kind of get over that hump, because if a campaign manager was familiar with you, knew you had done a good job, you might be more likely, whether that's an official stance of theirs or not, I can't actually say. I don't know how they do that, but I know that when you see a person's name and it's familiar, you have a positive experience, whether it's supposed to color their opinion of you or not, it might. And that goes for other companies as well, that if you get a reputation for doing great work, that's only going to do more for you. So the other thing that kind of goes in with that, and using that same example, is you really want to establish a good relationship with your liaison, whether that's directly with the brand or your campaign manager, like it was in this case. So, it might result in you getting more campaigns because you form a connection. And again, I'm sure that these companies have some kind of policy where they're not supposed to play favorites. But again, you can't discount whether it's overt or not, the sort of psychology of having that positive feeling and how, that person has a good association with your name, how that affects the sort of not covert, the hidden things, the hidden subtleties of choosing campaigns that probably weighs in, even if it's not supposed to. We're human, and that's really hard to help. So forming a great relationship with them. I actually ended up, Social Fabric asked me to create a course for them. So not only did I, get to do these sponsored posts with them, and then I had that cool experience with McDonald's, and there was one other company that actually ran ads to my sponsored post. And I can't remember which company that was, but it happened more than once, which is really cool. But then Social Fabric, liked what I was doing. And I guess I had, I don't know if it was from the relationships I had with the campaign managers, I got on the radar for teaching, and they actually paid me to create a course. So on the back end of Social Fabric, they do a lot of training so that you can take courses and earn points as, a person writing sponsored posts, that it can benefit you to do that. And it helps you learn things, but also I think you get, I don't remember, it's been a really long time. I don't do sponsored posts anymore. So, in any case, the fact that I had a relationship with them and had done good work for them resulted in me getting paid even more, because then I did a course for them, which was really cool. Because I love creating courses. So that was a lot of fun. Now, when you're working with a brand one-on-one, this is where all of those 4 sponsors kind of came in. So I have worked with, Great Dane, Grateful Dane, not Great Dane, although it is a play of the word Great Dane. Grateful Dane, I had not. But the other companies, I had personal contacts there already. So, Mediavine, I'll kind of go back. I had applied and gotten in with them, and here's how I like to do ads and things like that. I set it and forget it. Like, I just don't, I'm not into the tech. I'm not into the analytics. Just run the ads. Everything's fine. We're great. So I hadn't really contacted them, but they contacted me because one of their reps heard me speak at Blog Her Food. So they asked me to speak at their first conference, which was really cool. I didn't know they were having a conference. I was really excited. I love going to conferences anyway. They did a phenomenal job, which is why I highly recommend you look into the one that they're doing in 2018, because I just know what a great job they did. It was really amazing. The food, the drinks, the location, everything about it was really, really great. So, I didn't know them personally, but they heard me speak. So they asked me to come. And then when I was there, I got to actually chat with Amber and some of the other people that work there and formed a more personal connection. And so now I feel like I know Amber a little better. So I can email her, and she's someone who works at Mediavine. And she actually is in part of, if any of you guys have taken my course, Blog Growth Boost, I did an interview with her about site speed and some really techie SEO stuff. And, it's just been really great to have a personal connection, because now after going there, before, Mediavine to me was just a company. They ran ads on my site, whatever. When I went there, there was then a face to the company. It wasn't just a company. It was actually, I didn't realize it was a small company. It was made up of people who were bloggers first. I didn't do any of that research. I just knew it was a good company. So I worked with them. That was fine. But I want to push you guys to dig a little deeper. Had I not gone to the conference, I may never have known that. I may not even have the sponsorship today, because now I have the personal connection. I felt like this would be a good fit and was able to pitch to them specifically because I knew who they were. I knew who their target was, and I knew what would be a good fit and what would be attractive to them, because I knew them better from going to this conference and meeting them face to face, to having a personal connection with this company that before was just a company. They were a faceless company. So anytime you can kind of put a face, if you can put a name, an email address, some kind of personal connection. And again, this is not going to work all the time. Like, it's not going to work with McDonald's probably, when you have this post, that even if they liked it and they paid for an ad, it may not work there. But the companies that you already work with, whether that's, your hosting company for your blog, your email company, somebody running ads on your site, any of those things. Maybe it's even like, whoever you're using for your social media scheduling, maybe it's somebody over at Meet Edgar or SmarterQ, or you can make a connection at Hootsuite. Anytime you can make a personal connection, it's great, because those things can come into play later. I did not go to Mediavine thinking, oh, I'm going to make these connections and then I'm going to ask them for money. No, I went to speak and then formed connections. And then later that came back to mind for me when I was looking for sponsors, and also when I wanted to interview someone about SEO for this course that I was doing. All of these things are kind of in place. So it's sort of like, once you have, it's like having kind of this library of contacts. I know people used to have kind of like the Rolodex or whatever it was of all their contacts. Now we know everybody on Facebook and Twitter and social media. But in my head now, when I meet people and know what they do and have that face, when things come to mind that I'm doing or projects, a certain person I've met or connected with will come right to mind because I've met them. There's a face right there. I know more about them. And the same thing with them saying yes. Would they have said yes to sponsoring my party had I not gone and actually met them in person? Maybe, or maybe not. So those personal connections and actually forming a professional or more personal relationship. And I feel like these days there is a lot more, I'm not saying you have to be like BFFs with the person, but having a personal connection in a professional sense, like not the person that you're texting like weird gifts to at 3 a.m. Like I've got friends for that. But I do mean personal in the sense that you are friendly, cordial, yourself, you have some personality, because again, it's really hard to be memorable if you're just being very cold. I don't think we're in the way we would network now as bloggers and online, people. We aren't cold. We're more personal. We're a lot more, that line between professional and personal is a lot more blurred. So you need to think about what that looks like for you, and have some good boundaries there in terms of what that personal professional line is. But it is personal in the sense that there's just a lot more closeness to that. So anytime you can go a step further, it's fantastic. So what is really kind of neat about this is when you knock it out of the park and when you form these more personal connections, down the line, often you'll have that time where you can leverage the relationship for something more. And I've actually had some of these come out of affiliate programs as well. I spoke at an online summit, which led to me speaking at another online summit because someone heard me at the first online summit. And then you guys know Chris Syme, who's been on the podcast a couple of times from the Smarty Pants book marketing podcast. She and I connected because we were both affiliates for a particular program. So on the back end, I think our names ended up next to each other for like the number of sales or opt-ins or whatever it was. And so, we got on each other's radar through that. I think that she reached out to me, and then now we have a relationship where we have been on each other's podcasts and we talk about different writing things. And, it's a really fantastic kind of relationship to have that I wouldn't have had if I weren't part of this paid collaboration through an affiliate program for somebody else's launch. And so it's, again, you just kind of want to go into things with your eyes open, looking for opportunities, looking for connections with people who have the same values, who have something interesting that might be somebody that you can partner with, or even that you just enjoy. You don't ever know where these collaborations will go in the long term. So if you are always showing up to knock it out of the park, whether that's, doing a great job with an affiliate program, showing up to speak for something, writing a sponsored post, or whatever it is that you plan to do, knocking it out of the park and then trying to get on the radar in terms of a personal connection, being memorable, putting faces to a brand and having them put a face to who you are. Those things in the long run really matter a lot. So if you are thinking about or taking part in any kind of sponsored, paid collaborations, whatever that looks like for you in your specific niche, keep those things in mind, because it's not just about the one-off sponsored post. There's a much bigger picture. And I think all of these pieces kind of go together. But if we are doing a really poor job with our sponsored posts or not showing up the way we're supposed to for some other kind of paid collaboration, that is not going to take you any further. And so you want to do a really great job with everything you have. It builds your reputation. Maybe it's not with that brand, but maybe another brand hears about you or sees what a great job you do for this other brand, and then they want to work with you. So I have some big plans for next year in projects I want to do that are sponsored. And I'm hoping that I can knock this whole book launch sponsorship thing out of the park so that I can point back to this and say, hey, look, I worked with these 4 brands. Here's what I did for them. This is what it looked like. I want to work with you now in this way. So that's my plan with this, is to knock out the sponsorships, like knock them out of the park so I can really wow the 4 sponsors that came on board and trusted me to take care of this whole book launch party that I'm doing to celebrate creative collaborations. So I hope that gives you guys some food for thought for how to better leverage and how to get more out of these paid collaborations, because they don't have to end with just that one thing that you do. In fact, I think we should more often think about relationships than one-offs. So if you can kind of keep that in mind in whatever kind of paid partnership, and really with this all translates to free as well, but I think sometimes with the paid ones, we take the money and go. We don't see how this could possibly be something larger in the long run. So I just want to encourage you guys to be thinking about that. Now, as we move into the 5-minute frenzy of the show where I do the news and thank yous, I want to give you guys a couple links to go visit. The first, I would love for you to pre-order, or if you're listening after the book is live, after November 2nd, 2017, go order the book. It's called Creative Collaborations, and it is all about how to form lasting and lucrative partnerships without being, say it with me, smarmy. It's got lots of great tips. It's got lots of stories. There is a free it's built on course software. It's not a course, but free bonus material with videos and some fun things in there as well. Some downloadable templates and pitch ideas, some spreadsheets, and a lot of fun things in there that is free once you purchase the book. So you can go to createifwriting.com/cc to actually find the book. There will be a print version out very, very soon, but the digital version will be out on November 2nd, 2017. And I'm so excited about this book and hope that it is really encouraging to you to think about how you can use and utilize these relationships without being someone who's just using people, because that's gross and we don't do that. So I want to do a thank you to Jasmine Commerce of JasmineCommerceMusic.com for the tunes for the show. Please go and find her. Go buy some music, support an indie artist because she is amazing. I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, Nicolay Thompson, Matthew McCarrick, Kelly Grant, Marie Osborne, Katie Andrasky, David Snyder, Jenny Kokas, Chris Loomis, Cheryl Russell, Jenna Taylor, Sally Olson, Sarah Kennedy, Christine Goodner, Tisha Messing, Andy Cumbo Floyd, Christine Griffin, Roland Denzel, Mira Kothand, Matt Brady, Elizabeth Edwards, Tanya Goya, Mariana West, Pamela Hill, Ruthie Kerwan, Mary Dennis, Stephanie Nickel, Susie Taylor Oakley, and Jocelyn Brown. Thank you guys so much for being my supporters. I really, really do appreciate you guys and all that you do to support the show and for helping me create this content and covering the costs and more to getting this podcast out. If you are interested in being a supporter, hearing your name on the show, getting some of the bonus content like the free Facebook group, you can check out the levels and rewards over at createifwriting.com/Patreon. I am so thankful to all of my patrons, for my sponsors for the book launch, and also to Team Kiki for helping out with the launch details. I have not done a very good job of utilizing you guys this time because I feel like this launch ended up being way more rushed than I wanted to. We'll blame the hurricane for that and maybe a little bit of the World Series. But this is the only time I can blame anything on baseball, you guys, ever in my life. It's just this time. But thank you to all of you guys who volunteered to be on my launch team and help out in the wonderful community over at createifwriting.com/community, because you guys are amazing. Thank you for listening. Go snag my book, createifwriting.com/cc, and I hope you have an inspiring and collaborative week.